You can have a problem in your marriage or your husband can die when you are 40, 50, 60. If you're not secured your finances, then what?
Our generation and our parents' generation, we said always save. Today's generation, they are more about consumption.
If you are young, start that stereotype of torn jeans and a jhola, then you don't want to be caught dead with a Gucci bag.
You think women are multitaskers?
Diplomacy is not my strong suit. What you see is what you get.
One of the things holding back India's growth is the lack of female participation in the workforce.
Of course. When I started working, the dollar was 12 rupees. So
Wow.
must have been the same when you started working.
Yeah. You have faced your own challenge because of your gender.
This is a brokers club, which is 80% Guju, 20% Marwadi. You are a total outsider. Plus, you are also a woman. So, matlab, milne wala hi nahi hai. If this happens, that in every generation, when do the girls get to achieve their dreams?
Are there mistakes that women can avoid? Hello and welcome to Beyond Pink. My guest today is someone who's a wealth of knowledge on financial matters. Devina Mehra is the founder and MD of First Global, a global asset management company. She is the author of this book, Money, Myths and Mantras. And I suggest that anybody who is interested in money, which means everybody should read this book. Devina has received several awards, including being noted one of India's top businesswomen by Business World in 2025. Today's conversation is going to be about how women must take charge of their own finances, why taking a break doesn't mean that you are not earning, and how one should think long term before taking a break in one's career. Women as investors, I would never step into this field saying, what do I know about it? I'm married to a Marwadi, by the way. So that bias was always there that, he knows money. What do I know?
Right.
And it's only over time that one has studied and one has done research and one has got into this whole setup and said, listen, it's my money. If I don't take care of it, who will?
Right.
But I'm the typical woman, or I was,
Right.
that I would never investigate or inspect this part of my life at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot about fear. अगर गलती कर ली तो क्या होगा, ये पैसा हम कैसे डुबा दें, घर का पैसा है. That's the other thing, women never consider कि ये हमारा पैसा है.
Right.
सब पैसा घर का पैसा है और घर का पैसा हमने कैसे डुबा दिया. How does one challenge these notions?
There's no independence till there's financial independence. And many women, even women who are working outside the home and earning their own money, do not manage their own money. They leave it to the men in their house.
Yes.
So first principle is that confidence does not equal competence. So just because, the man in your life...
I'm with you on that. Confidence does not equal competence.
Yeah, this all studies show.
Yes.
I learned it through hiring mistakes, but in this case, just because your husband is talking about stocks in the cocktail party doesn't mean that he knows anything.
He knows it.
And the other thing is that women have not been part of money conversations. So even, just yesterday I was watching a ad. This was a housing real estate portal and, talking about buying housing. And there's this guy's young man talking to his father that our family is expanding. That should we upgrade a house and should we buy a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom? And this is just the father and son. Both have wives who are not part of this conversation. This is today's ad.
Yeah.
This is what the norm is still.
Yeah.
And most girls are not part of money conversations. And the first time they think of money is when they actually start earning.
Yeah.
If you are at some point going to lose money, that's a given. And when the woman loses money, it is her self-talk as well as the family's talk that तुमको तो आता नहीं था,
तुमको तो नहीं आता है,
तुमने क्यों किया, bewakoof ho.
Mhm.
And whereas the man, when he loses money, the woman often will not even bring it up,
Yes.
thinking, why spoil the peace in your home? And in a mixed group, when I say this, a lot of the men say, how will she even come to know that I've lost money? I'm not going to tell
There
her.
you go.
And I was on the stage for getting an award on one of these most powerful women type,
Yeah.
and that was obviously a whole group of women achievers. And I said, I can tell you the majority here are not managing their own money, and from the faces I could see I was right. Because see, one of the other reasons is that the women have too much on their plate, that they are
Yes.
managing outside home, inside home, in-laws, children, this, that, and the other, and they think that this is one thing the husband is happy to do, so let him do
Let
it.
him do it.
But you are giving away the reins to your life. Too many
Yeah.
women realize it too late in life.
Yeah.
In fact, the decision that has the biggest impact on your long term, happiness and financial health is taken with the least amount of thought, which is which is to give up your career or
Career.
take a back seat and take a lower rung career, and that is taken so often just like that.
I know. And hopefully, people who are watching this, especially younger women,
Yeah.
are at least getting a sense that there is more to decision making than impulse and
Yeah.
more to decision making than fear.
I mean,
You
just in the last 3 years, at least two young women interviewing me have asked that, how do we choose a career where we can, manage home and family? And I said, I find it distressing that no young man has ever asked me this
Correct.
question.
Absolutely.
So you are clipping your wings from the start.
Yeah. When women take a break, when they have kids, they want to be that perfect wife, that perfect mother. And I
Mhm.
remember in a conversation you said that nobody ever remembers you for being a perfect wife or mother.
Yeah.
So, what are you trying to achieve in that goal?
Mm.
Why have you set that as a goal for yourself?
The subtext ultimately becomes that the husband thinks that the money ultimately has been earned by me.
Yeah.
So if the woman has been a homemaker,
Yeah.
however difficult, that she has managed, 6 transitions for the children's schools and all of that, but all that is like now a footnote. So
Yeah.
that is the unfortunate truth. And many women also feel, and this is also the sad part, that what did I do with my life? What do I have to show for it?
Absolutely.
I mean, as
Yeah.
one of those women told me, that the kitty party and the spirituality are both two sides of the same thing, of trying to fill the emptiness, that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you devoted yourself to something where there is little recognition outside and inside.
Again, that circles back to the fact that at the end of being that perfect wife and mother, if you haven't secured your own assets,
Right.
then in the net picture of your financial situation, your figure is missing.
Yeah.
Your character is missing from
Yeah.
that play
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah. And I
Right?
think that when you talk about being perfect mother and wife, daughter-in-law, daughter, whatever, I think a lot of us neglect ourselves.
Yes.
That you are the person who is the most dispensable in this whole thing, that your wishes are no longer there. I mean, sometimes I ask people also that, do you know what your mother or grandmother's favorite food was? They can tell you what everybody's favorite food was, but you may not even know that much.
Yeah. But this is a very common thing to say. I gave this much money to her and she has to do, because, I don't know what she will end up doing if I give her more.
Exactly. It becomes
Yeah.
a give her.
Give her.
And also, I mean, the other part of all of this is that there's all this glorification of sacrifice by women.
Yes.
That, mothers are great because they sacrifice. I mean, so you're glorifying somebody giving up their entire life. I mean,
Yeah.
how is that a good thing? I mean, when I was growing up itself, I used to hear both, and this used to be both celebrities and people I saw around us saying, I'm not ambitious, and my ambitions are now only for my husband and my children, these kind of things.
Yeah.
And I used to think that if this happens, that in every generation, when do the girls get to achieve their dreams?
Correct. one of the things holding back India's growth is the lack of female
Of
participation
course,
in
of
the
course, of course,
workforce.
of course. This is sometimes when I write articles like this is what I end up with. End with saying that even if your focus is only economic, no country has made the transition
Yeah,
up the income ladder without female labor
yeah,
participation, and we are bottom of the barrel,
yeah,
barring a couple of Arab countries. Nobody is below us. So,
yeah, yeah.
and we can talk about what organizations can do, what women can do. Too many of the the narrative is also about what women can do,
Yeah,
but we forget the elephant in the room is what family and society
absolutely.
expect of
Yeah,
women.
yeah,
That
yeah.
you can work outside, but then you have to manage everything else. It's all on your head.
It's all on you. I don't know how long it'll take to change that kind of a mindset, you
It
know?
has to come from within, and it has to be out there. I mean, people don't like thinking from first principles, but really that's what it is about.
Hmm.
And it works both ways. I mean, when I talk of talking, thinking from first principles, it is not just about women. I mean,
Hmm.
one of the things which I've posted multiple times, that why is it that we think it's very cute that women talk to their mothers and sisters every day, but a man talking to his mother is disparaged as mama's boy?
Yeah.
So why? I mean, these stereotypes and these things which pass off as jokes are all pretty
Should be
nasty.
challenged.
Yes,
Yes, should be
exactly.
challenged. So it makes me think of that movie Legally Blonde,
I haven't seen it.
Okay, but you should, because Reese Witherspoon,
Uh-huh.
who's the main character, she's actually so dissed for deciding to go to Harvard Law School,
Okay.
because her persona is this very feminine persona,
Okay.
but and she's a blonde, which is
Yeah, which has
that
its
stereotype.
connotations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stereotype. And yet she chooses to go to Harvard Law and does get admission. Nobody thought she would. So, you just say that, come on. This was, of course, 30 years or whatever, how old that movie is. But even today, a lot of issues around what is okay to do.
Yeah.
There are still questions, and you would
Yeah.
feel why.
Yeah.
We are
I
talking
mean,
about AI, and we are still talking about what is okay to do.
yeah. And I
You
think
know?
the stereotyping also works both ways. So
Yeah.
all of us who were very focused on education and career
Yeah.
thought, being too interested in fashion or makeup or anything was not quite the thing to do. So,
Frivolous.
yeah, it was like that. Only
Yeah.
the frivolous girls
Yeah.
do it. So I think
Yeah.
that, many of these things get kind of hard coded within you. I mean, I find it quite funny that now very often, all the skills that are considered feminine skills, cooking, sewing, makeup, mehendi, as soon as they start to pay, the women are shunted out. It
Yeah.
is very clear. The pattern. I mean, computer programming used to be a domain for females only.
Yes.
Right up to the
Yes.
60s.
Yes.
Because at that time it was that the hardware is where
Mm.
the value is added, and that's
Yeah.
a man's job and this is a girl's job.
Mhm.
And as soon as it started to pay, now it became that, oh, women can't do software. I mean, they
Hmm.
were the original code writers, they were the original code breakers during World War
World
II.
War II, yes.
So also, I mean, somebody told me recently that now that, weddings have become such a big business, the mehndi walis are getting shunted out and it's all moving to the men. The you say sewing is a woman's job, but no tailor master is a woman.
Yeah.
The women do the construction labor, but the contractor, the mason is
All men.
they're all men. So
Yeah.
this is very clear that as soon
Yeah.
as something starts to pay, it is women are pushed out. Girls who do hotel management tell me that the most difficult department to break into in a hotel is the kitchen. They make
Yeah.
it very uncomfortable for women.
Right. You have faced your own challenge as because of your gender when it comes to getting the BSE card.
I mean, I can't say it was just the gender. I think it was also overall. People told me don't even apply because at that time there was no SEBI, there was no
This was
NSE.
in which year?
This is the early 90s.
Okay.
So after the liberalization budget, after that, Dr. Manmohan Singh opened the market to foreign institutional
Yes.
investors. So I was looking for a change. So I thought, now the securities market will professionalize, because till then you had only the old fashioned brokers.
Hmm.
So that was one. The other was, NSE was not there, SEBI was not there. So BSE advertised that we'll give 71 new memberships to professionals. So that was the category. People said, don't even apply. I mean, as I said, no regulator. So it says this is a brokers club, which is 80% Guju, 20% Marwadi. You are a total outsider. Plus, you are also a woman. So, matlab, milne wala hi nahi hai. So, so I always say that, visualization of goal and manifestation. For me, the BSE card was the biggest example, So it's a long story. But in the end, I got 2 extra marks for my IIM gold medal, and that pushed me over the cutoff. I didn't even know in the marking system they had this 2 extra marks thing.
Yeah.
So they tried their hardest not to give it. So all the sudden, but then I got it. So, but that I don't think was only being a woman. That was only, that must have been, that was part of all the other prejudices also.
You were just an outsider on
every
level.
count. I mean, I'm
Every
not
level.
from a business family. My parents were both academics. Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm not from Bombay either. I grew up in Lucknow. So it was just like outsider at every level.
At every level. The book, Money, Myths and Mantras, the 3 M's. The book is about investing. It's about what one should do, to manage one's money. It's been given. I'm handing out that book to pretty much everyone in my family, saying, read this.
Nice. A lot of people tell me that all the youngsters in my extended family have given a copy.
Yes. Saying this is the best way to start your investment journey. I have modified my own investment journey based on your book, which sounds absolutely far-fetched. Now that I'm saying it to myself, I'm like, seriously? Tell me first, how long did it take you to write it?
No, writing doesn't take me a lot of time. For one thing, I dictated. So the whole book was dictated on the phone. I didn't even switch on the laptop till the final edits. And I am the daughter of 2 academics. So that teaching gene is very strong in me. So the book was really that all that I have learned to put it out there in the world. And many times people tell me that my 15-year-old could understand it, my 75-year-old parent could understand it, people with no background. And yet there are people who are actually been veterans in the market who come and tell me that I've learned something,
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, like somebody who manages one of the largest mutual funds, and I had not even sent him the book. He found it somewhere and then he ordered 100 copies to give to his employees that, this is the way to learn investment management. So it's always, and that is why I fought with the publisher that I want highlights, I want summaries, and most chapters even have a QR code at the end that if you scan it, you go to a video which explains the same.
I've scanned all the QR codes also.
so that is, as I said, it's heartening that as the daughter of 2 teachers, that what I was trying to convey went across.
And you had been writing a column before that?
No, I had not been writing a column before. No, I mean, the book was done before I started writing a formal regular column, but I had been writing articles in Economic Times, Money Control, or whatever, even occasionally meant.
But what's a good investment strategy? I mean, if we were to think about it for everyone, whether you are earning, whatever you are earning, right?
Right.
You want your money to grow, obviously. You don't want it to remain idle.
Right.
So given that, what do you think is a good investment, a sound investment strategy?
See, first of all, it might sound counterintuitive. Don't try to optimize, because often when trying to get the best possible solution, you do nothing, which is where a lot of people, and especially women, kind of freeze. That until I understand everything, until I know how to recognize a multi-bagger, if I feel that people in a party talk about stuff which I can't quite understand, then I should not venture in this area. That's the wrong thing. Good enough is good enough. So that's the first principle, that don't try to optimize.
Good enough is good enough.
Yeah. So do a proper asset allocation. You don't need the magic wand for the multi-baggers. What you need is to get your broad asset allocation done, which sound like a fancy word, but it just says that how much is in equities, whether directly or through mutual fund or PMS, how much is in fixed income, your PPF, your fixed deposit, fixed income mutual fund, how much is in gold and assets like that, how much is in real estate, how much is in other stuff, maybe, alternates like crypto or art or whatever. So first get your picture of where you are today.
Okay.
Even in Google Maps, you have to put your starting point. You
Yes.
can't just put your destination.
Yes.
And then, in a conscious manner, decide where do you want to be. The other thing which is mostly missing in everybody's portfolio is global investing. So, everybody...
You've spoken a lot about that.
Yes, because
Yes.
that was part of my own evolution as an entrepreneur also, and as an investor. That, when I started working, the dollar was 12 rupees. So
Wow.
must have been the same when you started working.
Yeah.
So in...
It sounds unreal to say it now.
Yeah, but then, when you talk of saving towards and investing towards your financial goals, which typically are 10, 20, 30 years away, you can't forget this, that the rupee depreciates like this.
Very important.
And
Yes.
earlier when we were growing up, we didn't have an option of investing overseas.
Right.
And therefore, Indians have not really internalized that. Now for a long time, the liberalized remittance scheme of the RBI actually allows you to send $250,000 per year per person, which means family of 4 can send $1 million, which is, 9 crores rupees, more
Yes.
than anybody other than family offices need. So get that part in. Women where the children have gone away, or somebody who's not even started working, or somebody who's retired and suddenly say that now I'll become a day trader, whether in equities or derivatives.
So many people do that.
So don't play. That is playing fast and loose with your
sounds
money.
Very risky, though.
Yeah, and being only in 100% safe assets means that you don't get the compounding, and that makes a big difference. So
Sure.
if you invest 1 lakh a year for 30 years in a bank, you will end up with 75 lakhs. If you invest in a portfolio which maybe compounds 9.5%, you'll have 1.6, 1.7 crores. If you invest little more equity oriented, 12.5% compounding, you'll end up with 3 crores. So 75 lakhs and 3 crores, that's
4 times.
And if you're young, start. That's the first thing. That start as early as possible, because if you start saving at 25 versus 30, at 30 you will need to save almost double the monthly amount in order to reach the same number at age 60.
And we keep talking about this, that today's generation, they are more about consumption here and now, rather than our generation. And our parents' generation was the other extreme, which we said always save for a rainy day, even though that rainy day, we are seeing a sunny
you
time.
should, again, don't be at extreme ends. I'm not saying that don't spend on anything you enjoy and save it all either. On that, my test is that what brings you pleasure.
Right.
You spend on that. Don't spend on something which is just to show the world. And it is not like you really want the iPhone or the Gucci bag.
Yeah.
What you are, that was one of my most popular columns, that why does this phenomena happen? And it is very hard-coded in evolution. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to belong. Because we are the progeny of people who stayed with the tribe. So it is therefore very difficult for our mind to accept being outside the group which you want to belong to. I mean, the group may not be a Gucci group. It might be, if it's like an, NGO stereotype of torn jeans and a jhola, then you don't want to be caught dead with a Gucci bag. So whichever tribe you want to belong to.
So it's about image. It's about maintaining a certain image.
So therefore your brain actively, in many ways your brain actually resists what is optimal for your portfolio. It has no interest in your portfolio. It has interest in only those two things. I always say that investing in financial decisions, the numbers part is the easy part. The more difficult part is getting hold of your brain. Just intellectually understanding it doesn't mean that you actually change what you are doing.
Do you think women are multitaskers? We keep hearing this word.
I think that's the burden we place on women. So when it is unpaid work at home, the man acts as if he's totally helpless. That if you tell me, you have to tell me every precise step. If you tell me to chop potatoes, I'll chop potatoes and leave. I will not put it in the bowl. I'll not put the chopping board and the knife away because you didn't tell me.
Correct.
But in office, when you are a manager, then you can remember everything, and then you can plan everything. You are not the lowly employees who needs every step.
Correct.
In fact, there you will say that the woman can't do it as well. A woman cannot be as good a manager or a leader as a man.
Right.
That's the thing. It is only a difference between paid and unpaid. And because you are pressurizing the woman to multitask, that's why so many women drop out of the workforce.
Absolutely.
Because beyond a point, you cannot cope with it.
You collapse.
Yeah, you said that how many things can I manage?
Yeah.
Because it is not just the physical stuff. It is like people will say, oh, but you have domestic staff, you're not doing the cooking. But who's keeping track that what grocery is running out? What's the menu for tomorrow? What's the child schedule for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Not just your own parents, what the in-laws medication is.
Yeah.
I've asked in my IM group at times that, do you know your parents' dietary preferences and medicines better than your wife? And nobody has ever said yes. I mean, my brother is an exception. But otherwise, I don't find many men who can even say yes to this simple thing, which when it is their parents.
Yeah.
I mean, when their parents are ill, they expect again the wife to take a step down from her career and look after the parents.
Yeah.
Of course, on an organizational level, one of the things I find actually the public sector and government service is better at, that when the woman does take a break for, let's say, 6 months or a year, it doesn't permanently derail her career. So that's why
that happens in the private sector.
Yes, and across the world. Across the world. I mean, US also, mommy track. I mean, that they've documented.
Mommy track.
Yeah, they've documented it so often that marriage and children, at every step there's a penalty for the woman's earning. For a man, the earning goes up with marriage, it goes up with children. It's the exact reverse. That's why I said in public sector you will find more women reaching the CEO position, or organization like ISRO. You can see so many women at the top, because there is no grave penalty if you in an entire career you did take a few months or a year off.
Right. What has it been like to have such a busy work schedule and raise, I know you have a special needs daughter. So what has it been like to balance both?
Okay, first of all, I started working very early. And so I had a 5-year stretch before I even got married. So I had a child after, the whole setup of the business, and it was a fairly large organization and everything was set by then, by the time I had my child.
Okay.
Obviously, I mean, you never think you will have a special needs child.
Sure.
And you never think that your, partner who said that I'll do 50-50 will not even do 5% of that. So quite a while, I and my mother, we devoted ourselves to the child. And of course, I was working from home, and my team was already used to my working remotely, because even within Bombay, we had shifted our office to a place where more people could stay around, and it was far for us. So for a time, it was only my daughter and work, and that's it. I cut out all the rest of my life. For a good 10 years, I didn't even attend a wedding. There were 4 or 5 years where I did not step out of the house except for one lunch a week, 2 hours a week, and that's it,
Oh, wow.
So again, I mean, because my mother was also there, and for her, there is that nothing is too much effort where children are concerned. And I took my child for every treatment that I heard of. So China, Ukraine, 6 months twice in the US, in all different places, not the main cities at all, very remote places. Spent months and months in Haridwar, and a year and a half in Delhi. So I just tried everything that came my way on something that could help. And some things did, some things didn't, or whatever. So I for 18 years, I was away from her for only 3 nights. And that too, my mother was there. So
Sounds hard, but you did it.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm in doing something, I'm just doing that. I'm not too much of a person who thinks, oh, now I have to, this is poor me. I had to give up this or that, or so.
I don't think the poor me attitude helps at all.
Yeah.
In anything.
Yeah, I agree.
It just holds you back.
Yeah. That is not. Sometimes people ask me that, did you having a special needs child? I said, yes. I mean, it's. But then I even as a child, I realized I was very fortunate in the circumstances in which I was born and the gifts I was given. I said, I didn't question that. Then how can I question this?
That's it.
And she's a delightful daughter, and she's a lovely
That's a
person.
very gung ho attitude and a very balanced
Right.
attitude to, if I didn't question that, how can I question? I mean, gifts are gifts.
Yeah. And I had my
Yeah.
mother, so she, for the first few years, she was as hands on, probably more so than me. And
Right.
she's a fanatic about hygiene, safety. She would personally cook her food and all of,
Right.
manage all of that as well.
So then, that's a huge support. I mean,
Yeah, of
not
course.
many people can count
Yes,
on
exactly.
that.
She just gave up her life in the drop of a hat and
Yeah.
just came.
You've been single for some time. You've
Yes.
had a divorce, and you have been advising other divorced women informally.
Yeah, that's a support group I am a member of.
Okay. Okay. So, what
It's
kind of advice have they come to you for, or what kind of
I mean,
advice do you give?
it's a group. So I mean, we all share. If I have answers to something, I give it there,
Hmm.
because many of these people are much younger,
Hmm.
and you hear some really harrowing stories, including
Mhm.
of and these are women of IM. It's a women of IM group. So these
Hmm.
are all people who have graduated from IMs, and there's physical abuse and mental abuse, and
Mhm.
the breaking of bones and things like that, and of
Mhm.
course that
That
huge
sounds
amount.
horrendous. It
Yeah,
sounds horrendous.
yeah. So I mean, it's
Mhm.
like fairly bone chilling. So
Hmm.
if there's something something about, I mean, that in general, not just for divorce. I mean, I
Hmm.
always feel that oftentimes we say that our standard for helping somebody is that whether somebody is close to you. I always feel that if you can help someone without great cost to yourself, even if it's a stranger or somebody
Hmm.
just an acquaintance, I mean,
Hmm.
why not do it? I mean, it's
Hmm.
not something I'm thinking about. Maybe this
Hmm.
has come from my parents, because that's the way my parents were, especially my
Sure.
father
Sure.
was involved in a lot of people's lives, and I find that I am the same. That if it whatever
Yeah.
it is, if
Yeah.
as I said, I tried so many treatments for my daughter, so because of that, and not just for special needs children, a lot of healing modalities. So if I
Hmm.
can share with somebody I don't even know, I mean,
Hmm.
I can share it. It might help them. So I
Hmm.
mean, that is what I think.
Hmm. Are there mistakes that women can avoid? Typically, have you made mistakes that you felt you could have avoided given the right advice or counseling or something like that?
See, many times people say that what would you tell a younger you? I often tell women that flip the question, that ask what a teenage you would have thought of you. Did you go towards the dreams and goals that you had envisaged then?
Mhm.
Or did
Mhm.
you get derailed along the way? Because,
Mhm.
it is easy to get derailed because the pressure and the
Yeah.
kind of norms everywhere is something different.
Yeah.
So you have to negotiate, you have to get your way around that. So that part, and choose your partner carefully. I mean, they say that discuss everything, that all the issues beforehand, and I would say I did. I was a
Mm.
feminist from age 10, so I had
Sure.
my long list. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, still got conned is another matter,
Ah.
because the other person lied. But that's also a good advice, that think through all the issues and don't just go in rosy eyed into a partnership.
Yeah.
But generally, I mean, as soon as you start working, start investing, and be intentional about your money.
And in this situation, again, securing financial assets becomes a
That
very
is the time when a lot of people realize how badly off they are.
right.
Because
Right.
you can have a problem in your marriage, or your husband can die when you are 40, 50, 60.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah.
If you're not
Yeah.
secured your finances properly, you are left high and dry.
Absolutely.
I mean, one of the best things I heard about this, and this is a really old story. This was uh, Aparna Sen's oldest daughter. So
Okay.
this is probably 40 plus years ago.
Right.
She was marrying somebody, and he wanted her to shift cities.
Yeah.
She said, if I give up my job, 50% of your salary to my bank account. Those are the terms. So I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's logical if you come
Yeah.
to think of it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but very few women would ever
Would.
do that.
Yeah. So what plans now going forward? What are the plans for First Global?
We only started PMS 5-6 years ago.
Mhm.
So there's still a lot of scope in asset management,
Mm.
including mutual funds. So that's something, one is toying with
Mm.
to start that, because for scale, you really need that.
Mm.
The evolution was, you started as a broker,
Yeah.
and of course, broking to large institutions.
Yeah.
Then more than 25 years ago went global in 1999, when nobody had dreamt of it. I mean, RBI didn't even have a category for overseas subsidiary in the finance market other than for banks. There was
Right.
no category.
Right.
We were the first Asian members of the London Stock Exchange, so ex Japan, and then NASD. So that was one step. Then the asset management actually came a good 20 years after I'd been doing this business. So started first with global asset management, and in the India asset management, we're still fairly new. I mean, only, as I said, only 5-6 years. So there's still a long way to go.
And what does the India opportunity look like now?
You can see the way the mutual fund AUMs have grown. So there is still a lot of money that has still to come in. I mean, into the equity markets. But still, I mean, it has gone up in the last 5-7 years.
Yes.
But even now, the equity investment is nothing compared to a lot of the other countries.
I see. And that is happening?
Yeah, that's happening. So, I mean, the
Okay.
growth is happening. I mean, as I said, the mutual fund AUM has been growing very well.
Okay. So thanks for this conversation, Devina. First, all the best. Second, I cannot wait for the next book to come. Please write it very quickly.
I'm
We
just
are
not
not
finding the
waiting.
time.
That's no excuse. That's no excuse. So look forward to seeing your second book come out soon. All the best with the new ventures that you are planning. And thank you for this conversation.
Thank you for having me. Lovely conversation.
Hello and namaste. I hope you've been watching these conversations that I have brought to you with some very remarkable women in our country. The conversations, as you know, are about anything and everything that matters to a woman, and then, of course, by corollary, to society. If you are enjoying these conversations, do please like, share, subscribe, so that others in your circle can also enjoy them. Thank you. Keep watching.